My childhood sweetheart scored 20 points above the first-tier university cutoff on the college entrance exam. Yet he chose to repeat a year. I painstakingly and earnestly persuaded him to enroll in a first-tier university. After graduation, life was prosperous, happy, and peaceful. But on the day his first love married a rich second-generation heir, he drove with me and took us both down to our deaths. When if it weren't for you meddling, I could have gone to the same university as Han Xinghua, and today should have been our wedding. So, he thought I was the reason he couldn't marry the girl he loved. When I opened my eyes again, I had returned to the eve of submitting college applications. Looking at Shi Qiqing's blank application preference list, he suddenly turned to me and asked, Wenmu, do you think I can get into a 985 if I repeat a year? Hearing Shi Shuring's deliberately casual question, I subconsciously held my breath, and the fear of death swept over my entire body in my previous life. On the day Xiang found out that his white moonlight had married a rich second-generation heir, he ignored my wishes and frantically dragged me into the car, racing toward the wedding venue. I failed to calm his irritable emotions, so I kept silent, fearing that I would provoke him into doing something extreme in the moving car. He kept talking nonstop about the admiration he had kept buried in his heart all these years. Wenmu, she's getting married. The groom isn't me. She must look beautiful in a wedding dress. Wenmu, if you hadn't bued in, I could have gone to the same university as Han Xinghua, and today should have been our wedding. In a fit of impulse, he slammed on the accelerator and charged forward without regard, crashing at the intersection. At the moment life came to an end, I felt such deep regret. Shi Qing, if you want to die, why drag me into it? Only then did I realize that he had done it on purpose. Shi Qichang hated me to the bone, like he was dealing with an enemy. He used up his last bit of strength to clearly explain his hatred for me. You stopped me from repeating a year because you were afraid I'd do better on the exam and end up with Xinghua. I know you like me if there's a next life. Don't stop me from pursuing my own happiness again. So he thought I had stopped him from retaking the year because I liked him. How ridiculous. I was obviously there for the teaching resources and comic books in his home. Shi Chang's parents were both teachers, and they spared no effort or expense in raising him. The room was filled with materials. Our families lived close to each other, so I often went to his house to play. What moved me most was that he secretly bought complete sets of comic books. Do you think I can do better on the exam? Shuring's anxious question pulled me back to reality. He touched my arm. I looked at the empty computer screen. He hadn't filled in a single university. After thinking for a moment, I told him firmly, there's definitely no problem. Shipping, you chose your own path. So, walk it to the end yourself. I will not interfere in the slightest. My different attitude from before made him suspicious. He looked at me with some doubt and asked again, Wenmu, do you really think I can do better on the exam? His burning gaze seemed as if it wanted to see right through me. Just do whatever you think is right. I can't study for you. Shuring turned his head away and, after much deliberation, still hesitated to make a decision. If you don't do well on the exam, wouldn't that be a whole year wasted? Hey, I truly looked down on him from the bottom of my heart. A useless good-for-nothing who doesn't even amount to a decent man. So he did know his own abilities. This college entrance exam was the best he had ever done, and if he took it again next year, he might not get a score as high as this one in my previous life. The moment I heard he wanted to repeat a year, I immediately gave him a realistic piece of advice. I even felt that getting into a 985 through graduate school entrance exams would be easier for him than getting into a 985 through the college entrance exam under relentless persuasion. He finally gave up the idea of repeating a year and chose a first-tier university that his score could get him into. Back then, I still thought he had great ambitions and would surely become a prominent figure in the future. But in the end, he still failed the graduate school entrance exam. Looking back now, it was nothing more than an excuse he made for himself. In the end, he blamed everything he never got on my meddling. He even dragged me down with him to die. Suddenly, the computer rang with frequent notification sounds. It was a cue message from Haningwa. He glanced at me in avoidance, and I took the hint and turned my head away. I hesitated over whether I should leave. I still hadn't finished filling out my college application choices, and because I wasn't old enough, I couldn't go to an internet cafe. After much thought, I decided to wait outside. Shinyui, have you finished applying? The Han Shinua on the other end of the video call was Shuring's first love. My grades let me choose any university across the country. By the way, where did you apply? It would be great if we could end up at the same school. Hunning was in a cheerful mood, which could be heard from her voice. She was a true academic star, and she was beautiful to an absolute campus goddess. Every Thursday, classmates would request songs for her at the radio station, wishing her a bright future. Shuring charged forward for love and performed exceptionally well in the college entrance exam. But even so, there was still an unbridgeable gap between the two of them. Shinyui, I want to give you a surprise. Whatever decision he makes is his own business. In no time, I had chosen my preferences, filled them in one by one, and confirmed the submission. My grades held steady. There were no dark courses emerging, and I didn't underperform either. I was fairly satisfied with this level. It was enough to get me into a very good university in China. Back then, my college life was completely filled with Shurqing, and every vacation was driven crazy by him this time. If only I weren't at the same school as Shuring, then I could enjoy a wonderful college life. Of course, it would be best if he repeated a year. After finishing my application choices, I thanked him. Shi Shei-ching. We probably won't be seeing each other much from now on. Don't take what Auntie said to heart. I won't either. We both have bright futures ahead of us, so let's keep looking forward. He was a little stunned by my sudden words. Shi Chang and I could be considered childhood sweethearts, but our relationship was not as harmonious as it looked on the surface. The reason was that our parents were very competitive with each other. The only reason he became friends with me was that he needed someone to talk to, because both of his parents were teachers. He had no one to talk to, now that it's all out in the open. Everyone knows what's what, and there's no need to keep silently sizing each other up. Shurqing let out a chuckle. Sure, to him, I was a rival he couldn't shake off, practically a lingering ghost. Without you, I wouldn't have made such great progress either. Since we've talked it through, there's no point in holding a grudge anymore. You're a unique soul. 2 best wishes for your high school days. Under his slightly appreciative gaze, I slung my backpack over my shoulder and went home. In the days that followed, I waited for my admission letter while studying for my driver's license during the last life summer vacation because I got mixed up in the karmic entanglement between Shi Chang and Han Xingu. I spent the entire break helping them cover for each other. The two of them had secretly gone on their graduation trip without telling their families. This time, I was going to devote all my time and energy to myself. Shi Chang did not submit any college preferences, and he had kept it from his parents. His mother still didn't know that her son was going to retake the entrance exam, and she had already been telling everyone around, just waiting for the admission letter to arrive so she could hold an enrollment banquet. There weren't many college students in the small town, so students who were good at exams attracted a lot of attention. His mother was very happy and a little carried away, asking after the families of classmates who had taken the single admission route. Put simply, she was deliberately showing off. How many points did your child get on the college entrance exam? A junior college diploma is fine. 2. It's easy to find a job with that, and it's good to start earning money early. When she saw me, she used the same line. How many points did Mumu get? It's enough for a girl to get into college. It'll be easier for her to find a husband later. I never thought this exemplary teacher, someone held up as a model of integrity, would say something like that. I stood there awkwardly, momentarily at a loss for words. My mom hurried forward to smooth things over. Mumu did pretty well on the exam. As long as she likes it, that's what matters. And congratulations to Shuring for doing so well. It's really impressive. He must have gotten the best results this year, right after we got home. My mom urged me not to show off in front of others when others are going hungry. Eating quietly is also a form of politeness. The exams are over. You should be resting well. The next day, Mom, help me sign up for driving school on the same day. Shi Qing went on a trip. Shaiking's parents did not try to stop him and readily gave him the money. I only asked one extra question about who he was going with. Shi Shering publicly introduced his girlfriend, and Shi's father and mother were overjoyed to see their son had such a smart and beautiful girlfriend. The two of them kept asking nonstop like they were checking a household registration. But Shi Shering was unwilling for his parents to interfere too much. Dad, Mom, I want to attend the same university as Shingo in the future and get married after graduation. Don't keep asking this and that for now. I'll bring her home for you to meet someday. Mother, she was overwhelmed with jealousy. They say that once you marry a wife, you forget your mother. We haven't even gotten married yet, and he's already starting to dislike us. Of course, Shi Qing knew exactly what his mother's temperament was like. Shiningwa is the best girl I've ever met. No one can compare to her. She's as good as Mom, with the wisdom of experience. Mother, she earnestly began to educate her son. You've only just graduated, and you've never even been in a relationship. How would you know what's best? I don't object to you dating as long as you keep it in moderation. Shi Qing knew his mother had tacitly accepted his girlfriend's status. With his mother's approval, his father would naturally be pleased as well. Sure enough, she took out some secret savings and gave them to his son. Just after seeing Shering out, the teacher's call came through. Is this Xiang's parent? The student's score has already passed the first-tier university admission line. Are you sure you want him to repeat a year? Upon receiving the call, Shi's mother heard the two syllables, repeat a year, lingering in her ears. She hung up directly, thinking it was a scam call. When she came to her senses and confirmed it was the homeroom teacher calling, her hands trembled in panic. Hello, teacher. Did you make a mistake? My son has excellent grades and can get into a very good university. How could he possibly repeat a year? After repeatedly confirming that her precious son was repeating a year for love, Han Xinge's maternal family was cursed by Shermu for 8 generations. Shi's father, at a loss, hurriedly tried to find connections and contacted his son to come back at once. The whole floor was filled with the Shay family's voices, and the families who had once been mocked poked their heads out to ask what had happened. Didn't your dad find someone to help you choose a major? Why didn't you apply for it? Has the deadline passed? Can you still be admitted through supplementary enrollment? Shi's mother paced back and forth anxiously. Was it that stern man guy who tempted you, led you astray? You two break up right now. Don't make me say it twice. What decent girl in any respectable family would be this shameless? I rode my electric scooter back from the driving school and just happened to see the stairwell packed with people. It was eerily quiet, unlike the usual scene. Shermu was furious. She stormed out of the house, cursing me as she walked. When Mu, are you also helping him hide this from me? Bumping into me, he seemed a little awkward for a moment. When Mu hasn't treated you well, how can you just watch Shi Chong ruin his own future? My mother shielded me. What does your family's business have to do with my daughter? Get out of the way with an air of determinately venting her anger. And she kept cursing me for being heartless. The crowd grew larger and larger. After watching the spectacle for quite a while and roughly understanding the whole story, they all mocked. Supposedly a college student, and now he can't even go to school anymore, and he still has the nerve to blame others. Serves him right. Teacher, she became furious, completely disregarding her image as a teacher, and immediately flew into a rage, ready to start a fight. Just then, she came back. Mom, what are you all doing? Why are so many people gathered at the doorstep? Mother, she clutched at a lifeline, crying her eyes out. Son, quickly tell them you didn't repeat a year. Your homeroom teacher got it wrong. After Shering soothed his parents, he tried to persuade the crowd to step back a little. But only then did everyone notice that a lovely young girl was following behind Shi, and they were unwilling to leave. Even through the crack in the door, the Shay household couldn't keep the sound of the argument from leaking out. I worked hard tutoring you and used connections to help you pick your college choices. Is this how you repay me? Go find your teacher right now and see if there's any way to make up for it. Shering shook off his mother's hand, a look of delight on his face, and gently pulled Han Shingu into his arms. I'd like to formally introduce her. My girlfriend, Han Shingu, mother. She was furious beyond words, so enraged that she blacked out and collapsed. Father. She hurriedly helped his wife sit down, looking at their son, who had always been so well behaved and considerate. The two of them understood everything in an instant. You really have grown up. I'm already an adult. I've thought very carefully about repeating a year, and I'm determined to go to the same university as Xinghua. Just 1 year. A year from now, I'll definitely do even better on the exam, since I can clear the first tier cutoff this year. Next year, I'll be able to get into a prestigious university. The starting point will be different. I don't want to live an ordinary life. I'm still young, so I should strive and fight for what I want instead of following the predetermined path you've planned for me and spending my whole life going through the motions. Whether it's right or wrong, we'll know for sure a year from now. Shi Chang was ambitious, confident, and resolute. Han Ningguo was quite impressed and greatly encouraged. I believe in you. Where there's a will, there's a way. Why do these words sound so familiar? You must have heard them at the 100-day pledge rally. Hearing what they said, Shermu finally accepted reality. But those who have been through it are still those who have been through it. Retaking the exam is never that easy, and she knew her son's aptitude all too well. His current grade was already an extraordinary performance. If he did it for another year, there would be too many unknowns. She seemed to want to speak, but held back. On one hand, she admired her son's commendable courage, and on the other, she worried about his future. At this point, all she could do was silently support his dream. Suddenly, the postman's appearance broke the quiet. Wenmu signed for the package. Who is Wenmu? It must be signed for by the person himself. I nervously took the letter bearing the university emblem, already guessing at 7 or 8 TS in my heart. The mailman offered his congratulations. Young lady, congratulations on being admitted to a top school. Uncles and aunties in the corridor kept congratulating me one after another, and the mailman could barely squeeze his way out. Xing sighed when he heard the commotion. Mom. She slammed the door shut, and with a bang, the whole building seemed to tremble. My parents happily booked a banquet table, so thrilled they were practically dancing with joy. It hasn't been in vain all these years of hard work. Don't cook today. Let's go out to eat and celebrate properly without outside interference. This summer was destined to be colorful. The news that Shi Qing was repeating a year for love spread through the streets and alleys in a single day. Everyone who knew him, and even those who didn't had heard of him with mixed opinions. The topic was also endlessly popular in the class group chat. Damn, he even repeated a year after scoring above the first tier cutoff. If I could get that score, my mom would wake up laughing. Isn't he thinking too simplistically? Even a dog wouldn't go through a repeat year. Respect other people's fate. I heard that the more you repeat, the worse you do on the exam. In 1 year, anything is possible anyway, as long as I can get into college. That's enough. Shi Chang and Han Shingu were both well-known figures throughout the entire school. Even the homeroom teacher warned students not to follow their example. While taking a break from driving lessons, my best friend and I were chatting idly. Who would have thought that Shi Chang would actually come looking for me directly and question me out of the blue? Wenmu, are you showing off on purpose? Are you deliberately disgusting me? I was so hot I felt a little dizzy, and I really didn't want to say much. What are you freaking out about? Shering was covered in sweat, glaring at me viciously as he spoke. You heard everything outside the door that day, didn't you? You deliberately spread news about my family in the class group chat, didn't you? You even tried to stop me from retaking a year at school and break Xinghua and me apart. I'm telling you clearly, I can't be with you. Xinghua is the only one in my heart. I will definitely be with Xinghua. I took a sip of water to calm down. Xing, why are you acting crazy here instead of studying hard? What does it have to do with me, whether you repeat a year or not? What does it have to do with me, who you're with? There were at least dozens of eyes outside your door that day. Why do you get to say I was the one spreading it? And this year's college entrance exam takers weren't just me, were they? Have you already forgotten that your family had long since arranged to hold an enrollment celebration banquet? Now it's not being held anymore. What's so strange about the neighbors asking about it? What's more, the school keeps statistics on students' colleges and majors. Didn't you know that hearing what I said? Shirching looked a little dejected. In the past, he had never been left out of anything. But now he didn't even know about these things. Society really is reality. My best friend spoke up for me, her tone full of protectiveness. She's assuring, "You're quite the celebrity at school now. No one doesn't know you." The homeroom teacher felt very regretful. An outstanding teacher who had taught many classes personally came to the door to learn about the situation. She don't regret this. The college entrance examination is the best way to change your fate, but you also have to know your own limits. Whether to repeat a year or enroll in a good vocational college with strong job prospects and then transfer to a bachelor's program. Think it over carefully. Shearing simply couldn't listen to reason. "You don't need to meddle in my business. There's no way I'm going to a junior college. I'm aiming for a 985. My alma mater will definitely be proud of me." Until school started, aside from sulking at home, Shearing did nothing but spend hours on the phone with Han Shingu. Things had come to this, and he absolutely could not let the one he loved look down on him. Soon, the sweltering heat will be over. I stepped through the gates of university because of all the novel and fun things. I made new friends and learned new things every day. I attended classes carefully, read in the library, traveled with friends on weekends, and occasionally took part-time jobs from being busy and fulfilled to not even knowing what I was busy with. And then to work and internships. My grades were very good, and I successfully secured a spot for postgraduate recommendation. But I really like working. After getting my internship pay, I bought gifts for my parents. Who would have thought I'd end up sharing the same ride share with Shi Chang in his first year of repeating? He enrolled in the best repeat prep class in the city because of his strong. His tuition was waived. There was also a hefty bonus. He bought a gift for Han Xinghua and felt quite happy about it. At his original school, the rumors and gossip were like a textbook example of what not to do, and many people looked at him like he was a monkey in a zoo. Shi Shering did not want to be pointed at and talked about, so he transferred into a repeat prep class as a visiting student whenever they had a break. Han Xingu would encourage him and share bits and pieces of university life. They were deeply in love, like a pair of ill-fated lovebirds. At first, Shirching had planned to study hard, but how could dull test papers compare with sweet words that stirred the heart? Han Xinguo was smart and beautiful, and she worked hard, too. Every day, there were suitors waiting for her downstairs in the dormitory building, and among them were plenty who came from good families, had good prospects, and were humorous and charming. It would be a lie to say she wasn't tempted, but she had turned them all down one by one. The love potion she had been fed in high school should have worn off by now. Shi Chang will be waiting for you at N University. Shering clearly noticed his girlfriend's coldness, but with the distance so vast and the road so long, he was helpless. The repeat class had a heavy workload and intense study demands. Shi Shering, who often asked for leave, was an oddity and was frequently called in by teachers for talks. His grades had originally been decent, but he still couldn't get too much special treatment. For the first mock exam, Shi Shering put in great effort. He realized that all of it had been studied before and that he knew it all very well. As long as he worked hard before the college entrance exam, he would definitely be fine. And so, he became even more reckless. When the two were no longer on the same path, academic performance was the only topic Xiang could bring up. As time drew closer, Shi Qing clearly felt himself struggling. The problems he had originally known became hazy in his mind, and the ones he didn't know still remained unsolved. So, Shering attributed the drop in his grades to the fact that he still hadn't started studying seriously yet. He fell from the first tier cutoff to the second tier cutoff. Yet not only was he not anxious, he even thought himself clever. By the time the college entrance exam comes, I'll definitely be a dark horse, and then I'll make everyone look at me in a new light. At first, Shermu was very angry. But later, when she saw that the mock exam results were excellent, she changed her attitude as well and felt that it would be even better if he could get into a prestigious university. In the end, he underperformed on the college entrance exam, doing even worse than before. 7. Vacation for graduating classes is a luxury, so I haven't seen him again since graduation. Sitting in the front passenger seat, Chi-Chong had a corpulent build, wore thick, nearsighted glasses, and looked dazed and sluggish with an unshaven beard. The confidence and flamboyance that belonged to youth were gone, replaced instead by a timidity that did not belong to someone of that age. When Chi-Chong noticed me, his eyes revealed shock and disbelief. When Mu Shi-ching carefully sized me up through the rearview mirror, after a long while, he suddenly asked, "You're about to graduate, right? Are you going to take the graduate school entrance exam, the civil service exam, or get a job?" I calmly adjusted my mask. "Not decided yet. I'll take it one step at a time. I've already been to college once, and I started planning early, cutting out unnecessary effort and going straight for what I wanted." Chong was clearly unhappy with my answer. "Hey, the overall environment isn't good right now, and it's tough for everyone. As long as you've tried hard, you won't regret it." His choice of words felt strangely familiar. At this moment, Shi-ching answered a phone call, and his tone instantly turned gentle. "Mom, don't worry. I'll definitely listen to you this time. Whatever you want me to learn, I'll learn it. I'll do whatever you say." From his always nodding attitude, it was easy to see that Shi-ching no longer had any standing in the family. Before getting out of the car, Shi-ching waved casually, pretending to be relaxed. "When Mu, goodbye. Who wants to say goodbye to you? It's best if we never see each other again." I kept an eye out and asked around about Shi-chong and was stunned. Shi-chong didn't get into a prestigious university. He's still a high school student now. He has already repeated a grade 4 times. He has taken the college entrance exam 5 times during the holiday. His family was indeed a picture of maternal kindness and filial piety. One day, Shi's mother came to the house to invite the whole family to attend a college admission banquet. The school name she mentioned was very famous, but her low-key attitude did not fit Shi's mother's usual way of handling things. Shing was forcibly dragged to the table to toast the relatives and friends, looking just like a puppet on strings. Just then, a parent of a student whom Shi's mother had mocked 4 years earlier arrived uninvited. She presented the gift money with a faint smile and said that her child had also been admitted to this school for graduate entrance exam studies this year and asked what major she changing. The atmosphere grew awkward for a moment. The question was brushed aside in passing. What were they trying to show off? Once the holiday was over, I continued with my own studies. I told my best friend, Hiwei, about this. My best friend burst out laughing, saying I was adorably foolish. Then the two of us talked about this topic all night. Shi-ching had repeated a year 4 times and still failed the college entrance exam, and he and his girlfriend had already broken up. He enrolled in a junior college, trimming the story on both ends to save face in front of the neighbors. At first, he was full of confidence. "I'm someone who's going to get into a top university. I don't look down on ordinary schools," until his college entrance exam results kept getting worse and worse each time. Repeating a year was already hard enough, and on top of that came the psychological pressure of multiple retakes and the Cold War with his girlfriend until he dropped below the undergraduate admission line after hearing about his repeated year history. Many repeat schools no longer dared to accept him. "We look at the college entrance exam results here, and you don't meet the requirements." Actually, the school was also worried that he wouldn't be able to handle the pressure. If something happened, they couldn't take responsibility. He ran around to every high school, constantly examining college admission rates. He looked down on the schools willing to accept him, while the schools he liked were beyond his own qualifications. He was completely dispirited, with the ridiculous mindset of a student doubting life itself. It was only then that he was overwhelmed with regret, realizing for the first time that the college entrance exam had already been his limit. Just like that, the chance to change his fate was wasted by him, but soon he regained his confidence. He was still young, And while the college entrance exam was hellishly difficult, transferring from a junior college to a bachelor's program should not be hard. At the very least, he still had an outstanding girlfriend who had never abandoned him. Shi Chang wanted to move to the city where Han Xinggu was living and build his future there. Han Xinggu, who had been in and out of contact with him, had been exceptionally kind to him over these past few months. But there was also something strangely odd about it. Still, he didn't care about these little details and remained full of ambition. I'm going to upgrade from junior college to a bachelor's degree, then take the postgraduate entrance exam and go on to get a doctorate. I'll only be 4 or 5 years behind people my age, and I'll catch up soon enough. It's good to take things one step at a time, but I've heard these words from you countless times. The same tone, the same expression. Apart from studying, you never talk about anything else. What you're lacking now is far more than just a little. Han Xinggu's head had long since dried out. College is a miniature society. Beneath the veneer of freedom and equality lies enormous class disparity. No matter how love-brained she might have been, it had long since worn itself away. When her adolescent hormones first kicked in back then, now that she had to face work and life, she could say with a clear conscience that she had already waited 4 years. What's more, she had worked hard to get into a prestigious university on her own. She certainly hadn't done it just to listen to some childish fool painting pretty pictures. Shi Chang panicked, and in the end they parted on bad terms. I accumulated some work experience earning money while studying. My mentor was very supportive of my work. This time I started a company with the help of an entrepreneurship grant and ran it successfully because I caught the industry boom and secured investment. My mentor spoke highly of me and often praised me in front of younger students. This is senior sister Wenmu. She started a company at such a young age, so you should all learn from her. At the teacher's recommendation, I took part in the school's centennial speech and, by the way, interviewed a group of employees. Everything was moving in a good direction, but what I didn't expect was that Shi Qing was actually among them. 2. I only knew that Shi Qing had left his hometown, but I never expected to run into him here. Shi Chang looked panicked and at a loss, dressed plainly, his hands constantly groping around, not knowing where to put them. After the ceremony ended, he and I found a place to talk. You are so outstanding now. You are too. Shi Qing rubbed his nose. I heard you started a company. Are you still hiring? Just send your application to the company email. HR will handle it. In the end, I paid the bill and left. Shering stayed a while longer before leaving. I looked back and saw his retreating figure, and I couldn't help but sigh. In your past life, you were clearly a standout among ordinary people, living a prosperous and stable life. Yet you had to hurt innocent me for the sake of a vague and elusive hope. The life you have now is entirely of your own making. Shering falsified his academic credentials and was not admitted. Haningwa was, as always, outstanding because she deserved someone better. She left the city where she had studied and went to a bigger city to pursue her development, which also led to their breakup. Shi Qing had no degree and no background, and his job applications were repeatedly rejected. He did some entry-level work here and there, then quit and took a break, then looked for work again, occasionally spending money at nightclubs. What kind of good fish could be raised in such filthy water? The hoodlum introduced him to a new job, and he could earn a high salary with ease. If there was such a good thing in this world, it wouldn't land on him. Shi Qing understood that, but under the stimulation of alcohol, he couldn't resist the allure of the dazzling nightlife. Pushed and coaxed by others, he was tricked onto the card table, and after a few rounds, he actually made quite a bit of money. He counted the bills over and over again. He had originally intended to stop there, but how could someone who had experienced easy money let go so easily? He had had enough of a dull, unrewarding life. Shi Qing went from being cautious at first to becoming hopelessly addicted in just 12 days. He had incurred huge gambling debts that he couldn't repay. He had no face left to see his parents again. Shi Qing felt like he was going crazy, and he suddenly realized that he had already lost everything. In the end, he called Haningwa, but as soon as she heard he wanted to borrow money, she hung up. When he called again, the line wouldn't go through. cornered, and desperate, he could only swallow his pride and confess to his parents. To raise the money, Xi's mother sold off the family property and borrowed from every relative and friend she could. But it was still a drop in the bucket. After years of hard work, Xi's mother's body could no longer bear hardship, and she actually fainted. Shirring cried like a child at her bedside. He regretted it deeply. If he had followed his parents' arrangements and studied, worked, got promoted step by step, bought a car and a house, married and had children, what a wonderful situation he would be in now, when he resolutely chose to repeat a year, when he took exams in the repeat class, when he saw his peers moving higher and higher. He kept comforting himself that there would be a bright future. But now, he clearly knew that he had no future. He had nothing left. On the very day Shermu died, because she had no money for medical treatment, Han Xinga sent ex Shirqing a wedding invitation. He had originally thought Heningo was a gold-digging woman who had married some rich old man. But the groom on the invitation was handsome and young, and not some rich second-generation heir either. Shirring, my husband and I sincerely invite you to attend our wedding. The past is already in the past. Shirring traveled a long way to the wedding venue. The setup there was simple and warm, and from the guests, words of blessing. He learned that Han Xingu and her groom were a perfect match in both talent and appearance. Partners who progressed together and also lovers. I don't know how Xiang felt when he saw his former girlfriend marry an outstanding, ordinary man in the previous life. Why exactly didn't he end up with his first love? I wasn't interested either. The wedding went smoothly and ended perfectly. I attended Xiang's mother's funeral. Aside from some special circumstances, she was indeed very good to me. There were not many people who came to pay their respects, and the conversations rising and falling around them were all about whether the money could be paid back on time. There were also debt collectors. Shi Chong arrived in a hurry, covered in dust from the journey, his eyes bloodshot. I was just about to go home when he suddenly grabbed me. Wenmu, his expression was terrifying. Shouldn't you be stopping me from repeating the grade? You're supposed to like me, aren't you? Why didn't you stop me? He grabbed my throat and shouted, "It's all your fault. All of it." I used his momentum to throw him over my shoulder, and he landed flat on his back, legs in the air. Do you really think I'm still the Wimu who let people butcher me at will? I'm now no Hilu Winmu in college. PE. I learned Sanda and thought it was really useful, so I kept practicing it. I never expected it would actually come in handy. Xing's body, worn down by years of high pressure, had long since been exhausted and couldn't withstand a fall at all. I heard him clearly and walked away without looking back. In my previous life, I advised you not to repeat a grade, but you dragged me down with you in this life, just as you wished. Why are you regretting it now? Shirring actually had the nerve to blame me. I'm not even anyone special to him, am I? It's absolutely insane. Since then, I never saw Shirchong again. I moved away with my family, and later the house was demolished, leaving us with some compensation money. My parents now travel at home and abroad every day. My only regret is that I never started a family or had children of my own, but they were not in a hurry either. Marriage and having children are not mandatory choices in life, but our precious daughter must have a child of her own. I went through the sperm bank entries in my hand, choosing even more carefully. If you liked this story, don't forget to like it, share it, and subscribe to my channel. See you next time.